Hey there, I'm Simon Spalding and welcome to Simon's Cinema. So I'm back at it again with another horror review for my 2017 Halloween special. Today I'm going to be talking about Get Out, which despite being released in February is still not only the best reviewed horror film of the year, but the best reviewed film of the year, period. As far as I know, only one out of the nearly 300 critical reviews on Rotten Tomatoes is negative. So what exactly did Get Out do to get so much overwhelming critical praise? Let's dig in and find out. So Get Out is actually the directorial debut of Jordan Peele, who you might know as one half of the hilarious comedy duo Key and Peele. I think they're both hilarious, and I do remember on the show Peele actually said a couple times that he is a pretty big horror movie buff. So I was kind of excited to see this when it first came out. But then when I saw all the praise it was getting, my excitement levels went up to 11. So the story centers around Daniel Kaluuya's character. I think that's how you say his name. If not, I'm sorry. But anyway, he is in the middle of an interracial relationship, and he goes to meet the girl's parents for the first time, who are unaware of the fact that he's black. But when they get there, all seems good, until he starts to realize that a number of black men have gone missing in that neighborhood, and he starts to unravel the fact that there are some pretty sinister things going on under the surface. I can definitely say that this is a horror movie with a message, and a unique one at that, which is kind of refreshing to see, especially since it deals a lot with racial themes, which the basic message of racism is bad has been done 100 times over. But this movie takes a certain angle on that perspective that people don't really talk about very much. And you can definitely tell that this is Jordan Peele speaking his mind while still making a pretty good genre film for horror fans. And that's the thing I really appreciate, because this message could have been overplayed pretty easily, but it flows really well with the rest of the plot, and it doesn't become a constant distraction. And Jordan Peele also clearly knows the seriousness of the stance that he's taking, but he can also find a lot of humor in it, and that shows through some really good comic relief. Not all the comedy hits all the time, but Lil Rel Howery in this movie, he is absolutely hysterical. He had me in stitches multiple times, and I really want to see more of him. The performances across the board are very strong. Daniel Kaluuya, who I mentioned earlier, he's very good. I didn't actually know that he was British until I looked him up after the movie, and if you didn't know that while you were watching this, you would never think for a second that he was British. His accent is perfect. As far as the problems I have with this movie, sometimes the pacing doesn't really flow as well as it could, because a lot of the times it gets bogged down by switching tones a little bit too fast or sticking on one a little too long. And that can always be a risk when you try to blend two tones together, especially drama and horror along with comedy. Also, this follows some horror tropes a little bit more than I was expecting from something that's getting this much critical praise, but I mean, that's just kind of a nitpick, because the jump scares in this movie don't really take away from the overall enjoyment. That's just a pet peeve of mine. My only real big issue that I have with the movie is that there's one specific plot point that I really wish that they wouldn't have just straight up explained right at the end of the movie. They had been doing a good job of keeping the plot point I'm talking about very subtle, to the point that most people probably wouldn't even catch it, but I did basically right from the start when it was brought up, and I realized, oh wow, that's a really good way of showing that. But then right at the end, they straight up explain to the audience, like, oh yeah, that's how that worked. This is what happened so that these characters ended up here. And I was like, you almost did something very, very ambitious very well. In the end, I would say that Get Out is a very good genre film for horror fans, and I really enjoyed the comedic relief moments too. But what sets this movie apart from about 98 or 99% of the genre is that its message is very relevant, and it's not beat over your head to the point that you just get sick of it. I was very impressed with Jordan Peele's debut behind the camera, and I can't wait to see what else he does. At the end of the day, I'm gonna give Get Out an 8.9 out of 10. Thanks everyone for clicking on this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like it. Tell me your thoughts on Get Out down in the comments if you've seen it. Thanks and have a great day.